Well, that leads us now to obviously the questions are over, but we actually have now this Saturday, we got a big fight coming up.
Yeah.
We got
real big.
Real big fight. So we got Canelo, who was 59-2-2, against Charlo, who is 35-1-1.
Mm-hmm.
His only loss was to Tony Harrison, I believe, 2018.
Yep.
That was a unanimous decision. So they're fighting this Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm going to make a prediction. I think Canelo wins. That's my opinion. I think Canelo's a better big man. And I think he had his a wrist injury. I think he's healthy now. So I think he'll be all right. And I think Charlo can't hurt him, but I'm going to go with Canelo. 10th round TKO. That's what I'm going to go. Now, Dennis, what do you think? What's your opinion?
So I'm going to break down both fighters a little bit. Some things that Charlo might have to do to win, and then Canelo, and then I'll do my prediction. So Charlo, it has a 3-inch reach advantage than Canelo. So he has to use that, make sure to use his feet, where Canelo is basically, he's a slow fighter, he's flat-footed. So Charlo's going to have to use a lot of jabs and a lot of combinations, and he has to move that feet. Canelo has a lot of problem with people that move and box, like George, you mentioned in other podcasts. Skilled fighters, slick fighters. Just a couple things that I don't like about Charlo is, one, he has to be focused. He can't get wild in there, and he does that. He doesn't stay on the game plan. He gets wild. You start hitting him, he's going to start throwing with you. Another thing, too, he hasn't really fought. He hasn't been active as much as Canelo. So those we just saw last month with Bud and Spence, the more active fighter in the ring, having fights, I think took an advantage for Bud to beat Spence. So I would say now with Canelo, my prediction is Canelo's going to win. I think he's going to either knock him out in the 10th round or it's going to be a unanimous decision. I actually think it's going to be a mismatch. Charlo's going up in 2 weight classes. How is his speed going to carry? How is his punching power? Is it going to come up with him? Canelo is the shorter fighter, but he's actually the thicker fighter. And like Jersey said, he was injured in his last 3 fights. What he said, he's 2-1. So I think Canelo has more experience in big fights. He's been fighting top level boxers since 2013. 2010 is when he fought, I believe, Hatton's brother and Cotto's brother. So fighting 13 years of just top level, being the main event. I think the Mayweather fight was great for him because he learned so much from it. And then after that fight, he saw his defense started moving his head. He started doing the shell a little bit. So for Canelo, I just think he needs to get back to where he was before those previous 3 fights. Throw punches. Don't worry about the knockout power. He has carried his weight all the way up very well. I don't think Charlo's going to be able to knock him out because he has had punches. Kovalev has punched him. Triple G punched him dead in the jaw. He just kept on moving. Jamal Charlo can't. When a fighter starts pressuring him, he just starts getting crazy and he starts throwing and he loses focus. Another thing too is I think Canelo's IQ of boxing and in the ring and all that is just on a different level than Charlo. So I'm going to say Canelo 10th to 11th round, unanimous decision.
I agree.
I can see that happening.
All right, George, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to take what Coach Diz said about Canelo being in high-level fights since 2010. I think that's taken a toll on him. That is my opinion. I think at some point the mileage is going to catch up with you. His last couple fights, he didn't look good. He's got $100 to $200 million in the bank. He's got investments. He's got endorsements. I think, going based on the last couple fights he's had, I think it's going to catch up with him. Only because of the person that Charlo is as a fighter. A slick black fighter that is very difficult for Canelo to fight. He has a lot of trouble with that. Now, I will say he got better when he fought Danny Jacobs, but Danny Jacobs, again, like I like fighting bigger guys, Danny Jacobs was slower than Canelo. That was the advantage that Canelo had. Do I think Canelo is past his prime? No, I think he could. I think he's past his prime, but I think he could pull one off. But I don't think against him. I think Jermell Charlo will win this fight by unanimous decision, outbox Canelo. I think Canelo's on the tail end of his career. I think maybe he's got one fight left in him that he could pull one out of the hat. I don't think it's this one. I think it would be a fight against a bigger guy. If he somehow wins, he would fight Crawford, which obviously that would be a big matchup. But when you say that you're just going to come back to 54, it's impossible for him to go at 54 to fight Bud Crawford. Crawford's going to have to come up and fight him. And so I don't see him going back and doing that. I think this is the end of Canelo Alvarez's. He'll still be the biggest draw in boxing, but I think this is the end of Canelo Alvarez being looked at as the pound for pound best fighter in the world. I think this is the end of it. I think he has and I could be dead wrong, and I've been dead wrong on just about every one I've had. I just don't see him, because I think he got away with those fights that he had because he wasn't fighting the greatest fighters. Not to say that Bavil is not a top fighter. I think he is, but he didn't really hurt him, and he kind of. I don't think he looked good in Triple G when he fought him. I don't think so. And now you're fighting a guy who's could move way better than him. And look at when he fought Mayweather, how outclassed he was. Now he was only 20-some years old, but he was outclassed. And then that begs the point again: has he been in too many wars to fight a guy who is fresh? Maybe he's he's very fresh. I don't know. That's my opinion.
Canelo's been in it since.
What's that?
15. Canelo's been in it since 15.
And that's my point.
Yeah, it's a lot of.
At what point is there? We talk about having so many punches in your punch card. At what point is that over? At what point is it? That's it. That's all he has. And that could happen. It could happen. You could go into that ring one day, and you walk up those stairs. Oh shit! I don't have it.
Yeah.
That could legitimately happen that night.
Because there's only one person that's undefeated, and that's Father Time. Father
Time, and it could catch up with you at any time. Doesn't matter how good of a fighter you are. It could catch up with you, and it's not good. It's never good, especially if you're fighting somebody like a Jermell Charlo.
And I would also say this, with Charlo, there's some stuff going on in his camp. His brother, he doesn't even know if he's going to be in the fight. They don't talk. He might not even come up to the fight.
Yeah, I saw that.
So there's
the
stuff.
Wives don't talk.
What was that?
The two wives don't talk. It's really, it's really
there's
weird.
Something going on. Then you had Spence losing. Did that come into it? It's one of those fights where it could be 50-50, but I'm putting all, I'm betting man. I'm putting all that on Canelo. And then we'll see what happens next. I don't see him. If he does fight Bud Crawford, I do think Bud will get him. I just don't think Charlo he's smart in the ring. I don't think he's smart. And Canelo's IQ is very, very good.
Yeah.
Okay. So me and Coach Diz have Canelo, and George, you got Charlo. So Diz, me and you'll be winning again.
Yep.
Catching